Hello, youth. Today you are working on a video lesson for writing equations. Your learning objectives that you can write algebraic equations from verbal sentences and problem situations. We're also going to talk about expressions too, but the video is mostly going to focus on equations. Remembering that a vocab word, equation, is a mathematical sentence containing two expressions separated by an equal sign. So previously you learned that any expression, well, an algebraic expression might be like 3 times the number of stickers plus 3. Okay, so we have algebra, operations, and numbers, algebraic expression. An equation then would say maybe 3 times the number of stickers plus 3 is how many stickers Peter has. So it's just set equal to another value. That's the difference between an expression and an equation, is that equal sign. So we're going to practice. We're going to do a little reading. And I know some of you can be like, I don't want to read. But that's great, because then this will help you know that you can make math can be easier. You change whole sentences that you don't want to read into nice mathematical symbols. So how we break down when we're given a word problem or a situation, we're going to break it down into the words, and we're going to describe the situation using only the most important words. So we're kind of simplifying things to write an equation. Then we're going to figure out, what are we being asked to find? What do we not know? So that's the unknown quantity, and we're going to figure out the unknown quantity by assigning a variable to it, a letter that represents the unknown value. And then finally, we're going to write the equation. And the equation translates what you verbally read into an algebraic equation. The nice thing is, when you get it, you can read it back, read the expression or the equation back, and if it matches the sentence, then you know you're in good shape. Okay? So those are our steps. We're going to find words, variables, and make an equation. So let's do a couple together. So the first one says, let's write an equation for games. Eduardo had a score of negative 150 points in the first round of a game. His final score after 2 rounds was 75 points. We're going to write an equation to find his second round score. Okay. I don't know about you, but the first time I read a problem, I just read it, and I kind of like, okay, it's about games. Second time I read it, I find more important information. So I read it more than once, and you should too. So here what I know is that Eduardo had a first round of points, and plus he had a second round of points, and that gave him a final score. I don't know if you remember from another time, but there are some words that help us know that we're adding. So this was plus, it looks like, because what helps us figure this out? His final score, we know it was a total, right? So we knew we had to add 2 things together. This word is another form of is, and that tells me it equals something else. So kind of looking for those keywords to help you. Next then, a variable. What do we not know? It usually tells us in the question when asking us to find something. It's finding his second round score. I think this is a typo. This should be a end score, his second round score. Because we know his end round was 75 points at the end of 2 rounds. So his second score. So our last step is the equation. And the equation then was filling in these parts that we know. His first round score was under 150. And in addition to that, his second round score, we don't know, is what we're trying to find, but we know the total was 75. So now we have an equation that we would be able to use to find the unknown value. Remember, you're in control of the pace here, so pause as you go, as you need. Maybe you try this next one on your own and then come back to check. But make sure you read it back to yourself to see if it matches. So I'm going to go back real quick and read this one. So a score of below 150 plus another round gives me a final score of 75. Sounds good. So the next one. The next one says the winning time of 27 seconds was 2 seconds shorter than Tina's. So what I noticed is, for sure I noticed this word was, because that tells me that something's set equal to that. Okay? Shorter than tells me that something might have been subtracted. Those are just little 2 key things I took out of that one. So some words I noticed was that there is a winning time, and that was 2 seconds less than, another way to say shorter than, that's a little more familiar with me for math, Tina's time. Okay, so I kind of tried to break it down into a little less words. Might not be perfect. You might have something slightly different, and that's okay too. So my variable, what do I not know? Well, I know the winning time. I know the difference. They don't actually tell me Tina's time though. So I'm going to make T represent Tina's time. I think picking the variable is my favorite thing. So last, an equation. So I remember I know the word was. So I know something is set equal here. And I know our final time of 27 was. So that's set equal to 2 seconds shorter than Tina. Does that mean 2 minus Tina? So Tina's score less than 2? No, that doesn't seem right because I'm going to have a negative there. So instead, it might be Tina's score and 2 less than that was 27. So reading it back to myself really helped there. All right, can you do the next one? If you want to try, go ahead, pause, try here. Excuse me. So it says a drop seems important. That's going down. 4 degrees Fahrenheit per hour for the last several hours resulted in something happened. A total temperature change of negative 24 degrees Fahrenheit. So we went down 24 degrees after it went down continuously a couple times 4 here. So this is kind of rewriting it. This is what I know. I know we went down 4 degrees per hour, and that resulted in a drop of 24. I kind of just shortened it. So what I know is that we don't know how many hours passed. So I'm going to let H represent hours passed. I do know that it was -4 every 1 hour per 1 hour. So I'm going to do -4 times the number of hours that pass, and that should give me that -24. So a lot of times when we're doing this, people are like, I know the answer, it's 6. Well, sometimes that's not the goal. The goal is what equation represents this. That's what we're doing. All right, other side, here we go. So this one, real world example, is a little bit more words here. So you might have to slow down, take your time, read it a couple times. So for this one, cars, for the average consumer, a hybrid SUV would cost $1,473 less per year in gas to drive than a regular SUV. So right now I'm just thinking, okay, it's a lot of info. I kind of want a hybrid. I have one. Use the information to write an equation that would be used to find the yearly gas cost for a regular SUV. So that's some information. I don't think it's enough. And I noticed they give me a little bit more here. I might highlight some things that I do know right now. I know we're talking about a hybrid, and that a hybrid is less per year in gas than a regular SUV. I also know that here they tell us write an equation that could be used to find. This means we don't know the yearly cost of a regular SUV. So that's what we don't know. So right away, I might jump to that and say, okay, I'm going to make R, I might make R the gas cost for a regular SUV. I know that's what I don't know so far. They could change. So the next blurb here says a hybrid cars operate on a combination of gas and electricity. That's great. That's new information. I don't know if I need that for my equation. The electricity is generated by the brakes of the car and stored in the battery. Also cool information, but I don't think it's necessary for my equation. Lastly, the estimated gas cost for a hybrid SUV is $1,386 per year. So this does seem important. Gas cost for a hybrid equals 1,386. Okay, so now it's a little bit more information which I might need. So let's see what we know. I know that, how do I want to lay this out? Because we're looking for R, we're looking for the gas, and we know how much less it is for gas for the SUV. We also know how much total it is. So I think in words, what we're trying to do is we know that the hybrid gas is, right? We know that it is, less than, oh, I should write is, less than the regular SUV. So I could even just start there. I know that, okay? So let's see, let's fill in an equation if we can. Since I know the hybrid, we know our hybrid is $1,386 per year. And we know that also is, that both represent two things. That's the regular gas minus 1,473. So it's that much less. So a lot of information. It's not quick, notice that? So you might have to take your time and think. Imagine that. So we have a hybrid. We noticed that was the cost and this much less. And then we also were told later that the hybrid is this much. So notice what I did is I knew two things about the hybrid, so I just substituted and I put this in this spot to make one equation. That's usually what happens is you're given two pieces of information, you set them equal to each other. So that's a lot, but I know you are capable of trying your best, which is why I want you to try these next three, and then we'll bring those and we'll go over those. I want you to try these, okay? I want you to know that it's going to take some time. You're not just going to know it right away. Like I said, I read it a couple times. I write down a lot of information, break down things that you know, but come with them that you've tried your best, and questions. If this is where I get stuck. But you're not going to learn anything if you don't try. So, we'll see you soon. Good luck.